artists of the time discovered an aid. In addition to poetry and art, they discovered hashish, which was relatively new in France at that time. It had been brought to France probably about 40 years earlier, after Napoleon's army entered Egypt, 1798. And by the 1840s, hashish had become kind of very intriguing to certain circles in Paris. And in fact, a number of poets, writers, and artists who had experienced these very interesting changes in consciousness as a result of ingesting hashish formed the Hashish Club. Now, the Hashish Club was very active all during the 1840s. It was under the direction of a medical doctor, Dr. Jean-Jacques Moreau. And at that time, hashish had a very particular image in certain circles. Ingesting hashish was considered, as Dr. Moreau said, an intellectual intoxication, on a much higher plane than what Dr. Moreau called, quote, the ignoble drunkenness produced by alcohol. So all during the 1840s, the Hashish Club met every month in Paris at the Hotel Pimédon, which still stands in Paris. It's now called the Hotel Lausanne. And its members would gather and they would drink hashish-laced coffee. Now, the Hashish Club, as you see here, I hope you can see the names, had a very illustrious membership. So, some of the members included Alexandre Dumas, the great novelist, author of The Count of Monte Cristo, The Three Musketeers, other classics, Victor Hugo, Balzac, Baudelaire, and the painter Delacroix. So Dr. Moreau, who wanted to study the effects of hashish on human consciousness and behavior, encouraged these artists to write about their experiences under hashish, and Baudelaire wrote Artificial Paradises. So he wrote about his hashish-induced experiences. Here we have just a line from that book. Sound holds color, color holds music, musical notes become numbers. So we had this kind of synesthetic correspondence, again, suggesting this kind of mysterious hidden unity. We also have Théophile Gautier, who was also a member of the Hashish Club. He was a poet and art critic at the time, and he also wrote about his experiences under hashish. And he said, I heard the clamor of colors, green, red, yellow, blue, came to me in distinct waves. So at the end of the 1840s, Dr. Moreau concluded his study of the hashish eaters, feeling he'd gathered enough information. And at that time, Baudelaire, the poet Baudelaire, after having ingested hashish for almost a decade, said he'd had enough of hashish for the rest of his life and would much prefer having a good glass of wine with friends. So, a sentiment which I happen to share, by the way, as some of you know.